Okay, real quick before we jump into this episode, I have my wife Emma taking this video, so whatever I think there's a filter on it. Anyways, I wanted to quickly warn everybody that's watching this episode. Every time the camera cuts to my face, it's a little bit grainy, a little bit jumpy. I just want to let you know we do see it. We're working on it. Again, we're only a couple episodes into this whole video thing, so please bear with us as we continue to move forward through it. Enjoy whatever the heck Emma has done to this video. I don't have time to take it 100 times, so I'm posting it as it is. Enjoy the episode. Let's go.
Of love, that there also means there's consequences. You just can't do whatever you want because we still need to uphold justice. We still need to do what's right. And if you do what's wrong, what's right is to have consequences.
All right, episode 66, the Stand Firm podcast. I'm Quintin.
I'm Wyatt.
And this is the podcast where two real Christians get together, have honest conversation.
Yeah, honest conversation. And discover hard truths.
I'll let you just finish that one.
Yeah. I basically do it. Guys, I do it before every episode. He just doesn't let that air, so...
Yeah, I was going to redo the whole thing, but you know what? Wyatt kind of covered my back, so...
What can I say?
It's fine.
Nobody even noticed.
I don't think anybody noticed.
No. We basically look the same, too. So.
Oh, yeah. Very similar.
Very.
Yeah, so episode 67, or 66.
Yeah.
I'm screwing this all up.
It's all right, man. We'll get there.
Episode 66. Last week we kind of took a break, and we talked just kind of a culture episode, different stuff like that. So we got some of that going. Took a quick break from our Genesis series because, again, a lot of chapters. Probably throw a couple other more breaks in there as we head through Genesis. But this is just always our fallback series, or this is going to be our fallback series probably for the next couple months because we think it's pretty awesome.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
I love Genesis.
And, we're, what is this, 6 episodes into a Genesis series? 5 episodes?
5 or 6.
5 or 6.
See, now that we're going, 2 chapters.
Yeah,
or,
we're losing track.
2.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
We're losing track, yeah.
Yeah, but, we're talking about the flood today, and we are,
it's a big moment.
Yeah. This is kind
good.
of, not a climax, almost. There's a couple climaxes in Genesis, I guess. It's not like doesn't follow a traditional plot line, I guess.
No. But, there's great symbolism in the flood, and, it is a pivotal point. This is basically a God-made bottleneck, right? That this is just Noah and his family that survived this, and we'll get into that. And so I just think it's a powerful chapter, and it's a really good chapter, especially to go mull over and chew on.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, how was your week?
Man, my week was pretty good.
Okay.
It's been so warm. The weather's been so amazing.
It's been so good.
Dude, we've been running like 70 degrees every day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's also supposed to be pretty good weather, but it's supposed to be windy because Saturday's going to bring some storms, I heard.
Yeah. Saturday's supposed to rain. I don't think it's supposed to get super cold, though. It's just a bunch of rain.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I don't want it to get back to freezing. I'll take the rain. Spring has rain,
Yeah, no, it doesn't really look like we're going to be getting too much colder anymore. Well, I think next week we're supposed to drop like mid-50s a little bit.
There's one day with a low in the 40s.
Yeah.
But
which is bearable.
Oh, yeah.
It's better than what we've had in the 20s and teens, but it honestly looks like we're on the uptrend. I think, usually we have like a fake summer, which we already had that a couple of weeks ago. So I think we're getting warmer. Like we're hitting, we're mid-March now, which is insane.
Yeah.
But we're mid-March. We're almost into April, and it really doesn't usually anymore. I know there's been exceptions in the past, but usually once we hit April, we're not getting cold anymore.
No, not really. Again, it's, April showers bring May flowers, so
sure.
It's just a lot
more
rain.
What else is a Mayflower? I'm a Mayflower. May 7th.
That's
Oh.
me. I get
I mean,
1 year older that day. It's coming up quick, man. I know it's only March, but it feels
know-
like it's going to be up really soon.
you know, your birthday is the year you finish, not the year you start.
What?
Your birthday is the year that you've completed, not the year you're starting. You ever notice that? Yeah. It's just really interesting.
It's a
So
good
yeah, when
point.
you're 21, you've had 21 years completed, but you're on your 22nd year.
You know
Interesting,
what?
right?
That is a really good
It just
point.
clicked one day and it's like, oh, wow.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah. Shower thought.
Which I guess that makes, but it's right though. You're 21 years old. You're not 22 years old.
Correct.
You're on your 22nd year.
Yes. Because it's not done yet. And that's, you're marking years of completion, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would be stupid to say you're 22, but you've only lived 21 years.
100%.
So I understand why they do that. Why they say that.
Just something to think on. But that's good. Your week's been good. I'm starting to realize just how hot it is in bibs. So it's not fun. But I refuse to wear shorts and get all the bugs on my legs.
I would not wear
don't do it.
shorts, crawling under homes. And,
Nope. I'll take the sweat.
oh, yeah. Well, I have no choice. I have to wear FR-rated clothing.
Because
And
you're special. Yeah.
it just gets really hot. Dude, it's so, I mean, I can't explain to you how thick it is. I ought to bring one of my shirts here one day, but like it is so thick. It's like cardboard, the t-shirts and the pants. I don't mind working in pants. That's not too bad. The pants are really thick too, but I don't mind that as much because my legs don't really affect your body temperature.
And you don't have as much dexterity in your legs as you do your upper body.
Yeah. So that doesn't bother me as much, but the shirts are like thick as cardboard, dude. Like I can't explain. And when you sweat, like there's been times where I've sweat so much it's just, doused my shirt. It starts sticking to you. And, God forbid you get some water on you in the summer and then that just clings to you. Like that happened to me before. It wasn't water. It was, lubricant that went on the wire. Just blew up on me. But
Oh, nice.
But just it was in the middle of summer and it stuck to me and it was pretty rough.
Ew.
But hey, I am in shorts and a t-shirt right now.
Loving it. Loving life.
I'm feeling it. I'm loving it, dude. I am loving it.
I am loving the sun too. Oh man,
my
I'm just
goodness.
sitting out like basking in it. It's great.
Yes.
I feel like a lizard.
You guys have a nice porch to sit and bask in.
It's more like just a concrete pad, but yeah,
Yeah, but it's a spot to bask.
that is true. It's a spot. Yeah,
I don't have a spot to bask.
that's terrible.
You never have me over to sit and bask, brother.
I'm sorry. We'll start doing it now that it's warm.
You just never have me over.
What do you mean?
I
It's
mean-
been winter.
You just have me over to do this podcast like that's all you use me for.
It's not all I do.
I'm just
You'll
saying.
be coming over this summer.
Am I?
Yeah,
Because that's what you said last summer. You know how many times I came over that wasn't podcast related?
a few times.
I don't think maybe once for the Indy 500.
Indy 500. There's another time with. Look, there were other times. I can't remember what I had for breakfast most days. So
I'm just giving you a hard time. I don't really care. I'm just joking. It is funny though. No, yeah, but gotta come over, gotta swim.
Oh yeah.
Do the thing. I really enjoy swimming. I just love it.
So do I. Yeah.
But only in the summer. I don't like going to like indoor pools in the winter. It just doesn't quite have the same vibe. The vibe of swimming is in the hot sun, in the water. I'm not really a fan of the indoor deal. I really don't like it.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I feel like you're kind of...
Would you rather? Okay. Would you rather? It's warm. Okay.
Yeah.
Swim in the sun, like the burning sun. There's no clouds in the sky.
Yeah.
Or would you rather swim when it's raining? Both are hot, so it's the same temperature.
Sun.
Really?
Yeah.
No way, man. Swimming when it's raining has a complete different effect. It's much better.
I don't like it.
100%.
I've only done it a few times, so I can't have too strong of an opinion on it. But I am very much for just a hot summer day swimming in the pool. And it's got to be a cool pool, too, not these 90-degree pools, these heated pools.
Oh, yeah.
Why in the world would you have a heated pool?
Man, our solar cover gets the thing pretty well into the 90s. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
our
it's gotta
backyard does get a
be-
lot of sun, though.
It's got to be refreshing, though.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we do is eventually we start leaving it off because
Yeah.
it gets to be like a hot tub, and it's like, this is making me more warm.
Yeah, and it makes you more humid and nasty feeling, and it's got to be crisp.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe water temperature is different. Water temperature runs.
Yeah, I was gonna
cooler.
say you're not going in at like 80. I mean, I don't mind 80. 80 is a cold swim though. Like
80. See, that's the problem though. I'm so out of touch with water temperatures.
yeah,
Like, what's your?
it's like 80 it's cool. It'll cool you off, right? In the 70s, that's a cold swim. My family doesn't get in the water below 80. I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what's your typical shower at?
105 to 115 degrees usually. If you're a girl, it's like 180 degrees. It's just boiling. But
Yeah.
no, technically the average hand washing temperature is 105 to 110 degrees.
Really?
So, and that's hand washing. Normally that's a little colder than like a shower.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just about 115, 120. Mm-hmm.
So I could see how it. Yeah, it's just weird because you wouldn't think like, I want to shower in 115. 115 sounds really hot.
Well, you got to think
but
98.6. Anything below that is going to feel cold to your body. Everything above
That's
that is
true.
going to be warm. So
That's true. That's your core body temp. You're so smart.
oh, thank you. I just stare at water all day.
I just track temperatures and different data points.
That's right.
No, I am just excited for it to be warm. I think, I think that it's going to be a good summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just excited. My first summer married.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have a lot on the schedule yet, which, dude, by like when summer actually hits, we are completely
I bet.
plumb
Just
packed
booked.
full. Every summer it happens, between shows with, Sons of I Am and, different things. And just get packed full. But I want to take time this summer to just hang out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be swamped
Chill
full
out.
with stuff. But things are at full swing in the summer. Work and
That's true.
like stuff just that is.
And we'll have work for you. We're just going to load it on.
Yes, give me all the work. No, I don't mind. I enjoy work. Like I do. I like going to work and work, but sometimes I'm just not for it. Like the weather's been so nice lately. I have not wanted to stay late. I wanted to get home.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. And here's the thing, even if I'm sitting inside on a warm day, I still love it.
Really?
Yeah, because I just know it's nice outside. Huh. I mean, it's like sitting inside on a rainy day. You feel gross.
Yeah, but at least sitting inside on a rainy day, I don't feel as bad as if I sit inside on a sunny day. Because if it's sunny and nice outside, it's like, man, I should be out there. But I don't want to be out there,
I guess it just depends. Like if I want to be outside but I can't, then I'm upset. Like if I'm at work.
That's true, yeah.
But I do love working in the
heat? Yeah.
I like getting.
I love working outside.
I think
dig jobs in the summer, they're great.
I think we've had this conversation before, but I genuinely do like working up a sweat at work. Like I enjoy working when it's hot and sweating, and I mean, and here's the weird thing: like it's hard for like the first 20 minutes while your body's getting acclimated to the heat, but once you get rolling and start sweating, your body starts cooling itself down. It's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
I just got to stay hydrated through the summer. I got this 5K coming up in April.
That's right.
April 28th.
You still training for that?
Huh.
Okay.
It's coming
That's
along.
a funny way to say yeah.
Ish.
In theory,
In
yes.
theory, yes. I should be, but,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It gets in the way.
yeah. Well, we've got this. We just got a Planet Fitness membership.
Okay.
I got it so I got Emma the Black card. Okay, I got her the Black card because she can bring a guest. So I figured only time I'm really going to go, it's too far away to really make it in the mornings anymore. Total was like right on the line for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm heading south like 10 minutes.
And then going north.
Back north. So it was total was right on the line. Planet Fitness is more into Columbus. So I'm kind of in a rough position there. So I figure I'll do it after work and stuff, and I'll be going with Emma, and she wants to go throughout the day with her sister. So I'm like, we'll just get her the Black card. That way
she's going like 2 a days.
Oh yeah, she's ready to go.
Jacked.
She just likes to, roll the treadmill, and like she doesn't, go too crazy, but she enjoys it.
Yeah.
And her sister was wanting to go with her too. So I'm like, she can just bring a guest. We can pay for one membership. I'll just be her guest every time.
Yeah.
Then I'm only paying $30 a month as opposed to $60. But I hope I can still use that water massage bed at Planet Fitness as a guest. Because if I can't, that may make me want to get my own Black card.
That'll be the deciding factor.
Well, it's nice. I mean, like, I wish they had like a sauna. I loved the sauna at Total.
Oh, yeah. The sauna was great. It's out of order again.
Of course it is.
I know. We can't have nice things.
Gosh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well-
I keep looking up videos too on how to build your own. It's like, oh man, I totally could, but
Could you?
Well, the lumber's the most expensive part. You get them tongue and groove, nice, expensive boards for saunas. Oh yeah, dude, that's a lot of money.
Where would you put it?
Well, that's the other problem I was having.
Put it in your basement or something.
I could do it in the basement. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be nice.
Well, you
I
could
could
get-
plumb a line off, make a steam unit. You know.
You know how to do that. You could.
Yeah, I could plumb it, but the problem is having the money to buy the steam unit.
Well, true. Well, you can get those portable saunas.
Yeah, them are.
Those are just like I saw those for fairly cheap, really.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
They're just
Ones
like
with the
a
zip up one.
Yeah, you just zip it up, you get in there and it heats it up, and why don't you just do something like that?
I could. I just haven't got around to it yet.
You should. Because here's the thing that's frustrating is that's a huge selling point of Total, and it's down a lot.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It is sad.
So I don't know, but I do like the weights. So they've got nice weights. We've got
They
new
do.
machines, new dumbbells.
And you do a lot of that.
Yeah.
I just kind of went away from that. That's not really my forte anymore. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay for.
Yeah, fair enough.
How's your week, Wyatt? How's that going for you?
Dude, my week's been good. We went and saw Jordan Peterson this Sunday.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that.
It was really good. He was going over some concepts he's got in his new book, and it was just interesting, going through biblical lessons because it's a book. We wrestle with God, and it was an interesting talk. It was really cool, and I don't know. I listened to him quite a bit, so you start to understand the phrases and stuff he'll use.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you can start to get it when he says it instead of like having to go, huh, and then re-listen to it to get it. So
Yeah.
it's really nice. So that took us into the evening. Then we took Monday off, so we drove back Monday. I got back around noon or so, and relaxed. Tuesday we did a sewer. It was all right. It was sewer repair. It wasn't even a whole sewer. And then Wednesday, Thursday, we just messed around. Or well, today's Thursday, and we didn't even do that much today. I had to replace a main shutoff valve in a basement. That was fun. Not really, because when you're fighting water in a copper pipe, you cannot sweat it. So that's very annoying. And we didn't have our sweat jet tool with us. So it's like, all right, call someone from the shop. They got there. And it was right when they got there that we took the coupling apart and realized it was backfeeding from the softener. And so then the water quit, and it's like, oh, we don't need the sweat jet anymore. Thanks for driving it over here, though.
Thanks, though.
Yeah. So, but that was fun. I love sweating copper. So much fun.
Yeah, it seems like kind of like TIG welding in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Soldering
feeding it or soldering, I guess, more than TIG
Well,
welding.
yeah, soldering and brazing are very similar.
Yeah.
And some plumbers do braze, because if you're using like a gold or a titanium, technically it's brazing, because solder and brazing are slightly different.
Sure.
Yeah. But
Cool stuff.
yeah, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But hey, since we've been talking about pools so much, amazing segue.
I was gonna go a very similar segue with, hey, talking about water, dude.
Oh, man, that's a
great
better
minds
one.
think alike.
What can we say?
How wonderful. Wyatt,
Yes.
before we jump into this really thrilling conversation that we have prepared today, let's take a moment to thank the people that have gotten us to where we are today.
Yeah, we should.
Yes, we probably should.
Yep.
We probably should.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, real quick before we jump into everything, we want to thank the people that have allowed us to get where we are with the video, with the audio from the very beginning. That's Hope First Wesleyan. They're more than just a financial sponsor, somebody that gives us the things we have. Also, it's both of our home churches, our home communities, our home families, and we want to thank them for that and for allowing us to be here and doing that. And so,
Yeah. We'll get into the episode.
This is our thank you.
Yeah.
Wyatt's the most appreciative.
Thank you.
All right, let's jump into it. But yeah, let's kind of jump into the flood here. So 2 weeks ago, where we left off on our flood conversation, we stopped right at the end of chapter 5.
Well, we went into...
We did. We jumped into chapter 6 there a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, we stopped at verse 9, which, at least in my Bible, this is
Yeah.
a subheading, Noah and the flood.
Yeah, that mine says this is the account of Noah.
Oh.
So yeah, we went through a little bit and we spoke about, chapter 5 was it was a lot of lineage. So
Yeah.
we kind of breezed through that.
Gotta love them Old Testament names.
We spoke about the Nephilim briefly, which again, coming
That series
up here
is coming.
in April. It's coming. We're excited for it.
I'm excited
Be
for
pumped.
it. Yeah. I mean,
No,
I keep
really-
wanting to talk about it, but it's like,
I know,
we
there's-
need to save it.
It was
'cause
like
we need
last
to-
week. I wanted to start sharing everything, but I couldn't. I wanted to save some, so we'll be talking about that coming up here. And then today we're jumping into the account of Noah, and we're just gonna go until we don't want to talk anymore.
That's right. That's right. Until we don't want to talk.
All right, Wyatt, go ahead, start us up here, man.
So, starting in verse 9, it says, "This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among his people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make the lower and middle Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on the earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter my ark. But you will enter the ark, and you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you are all to bring You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you and be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him."
Okay.
And so that's the end of chapter 6.
Yeah. So there's chapter 6.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's kind of like we're getting through the context almost.
Yeah.
We're setting up the scene.
Well, I also think there's some there's really good context is really important, I guess, is what I want to try and say. So, when he talks about Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and walked faithfully with God.
Yeah.
There are other translations, like New King James says, "This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was just a man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God."
Sure.
So how we say that Noah was perfect in his generations, meaning he didn't have that muddling that we saw from the fallen angels, and he had his lineage stretched back to Adam, right? And we also know that he walked faithfully with God.
Yeah.
And I like that word, faithfully, because it means a bunch of things. In our connotative definition, we think that faithfully means, strict adherence, right? And Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines faith as a steadfast, an affection, or allegiance. But we also know the Latin suffix, ful, full, means full of or to resemble.
Yeah.
So we also know from that word then that faithfully also means full of faith.
Yeah.
And I think this is, again, hitting home the message that it is by faith that you come to God.
Yeah.
Right? And you are counted righteous because of your faith. And this is before Abraham that we even see that a lot of people quote as Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness.
Yeah.
But this even further nails that down, even before Abraham, that, again, it is by faith that we come to God and that we have a relationship through God. And I think this runs completely counterculture to how so many of the ancient Israelites saw this text as more of laws and strict, just obedience rather than a loving relationship between two willful beings.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And one thing too, so here I see in verse 9, Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. Mm-hmm. So, just to your point, right? He stood separate from the world.
Yeah.
Right? And from the rest of his lineage, right? Which I think you continue to see, obviously he did. When God chose him as the one to go and build the ark, and his family, and even the whole time he tried to, get people on here, and
no one would listen.
No one would listen to him. And that just goes even further to prove that he was separate from the world. He was okay with being separate. That's another piece that sometimes, he was okay with that, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, he was building a massive ark in an area where it hadn't rained for, it didn't rain.
Yeah.
People were like, he's building an ark inland. Like, what's he doing? He's crazy. And he just did it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, something to touch on the word ark, as I was going through and researching this, the Hebrew word that we translate to ark is actually, I'm not even going to try and describe those characters, but they're Hebraic characters, and it's pronounced tevat, Tevat. And it's translated to ark or box, which is interesting because, we think of ark as like a ship,
sure,
but it's more so a box because it doesn't have the means to sail. It didn't have oars. It didn't have sails. Right? So, which I think is really interesting because it emphasizes that, again, the ark was more of a container, more of a box for life.
Yeah.
Right? And its word is unique here in the Bible as it only appears again in the context of the story of Moses in Exodus chapter 2, verse 3, when it's talking about the basket that they put him in to sail down the river. So again, you're talking about that box that holds life, right? That continues this, the great story that we call the Bible and all these books that are somehow, again, it's only by God's hand that they're assembled this way, that they all call back to each other. They use such a complex language that even then, when you dive into the Hebrew, it still all points to each other. Again, this is divine authorship. There's no way a human mind, I believe, could ever create something like this.
Yeah, and that's just a box of life is true, because you're right. No, there was no way of them really moving that thing, guiding that thing. The flood happened, and they were just along for the ride.
That's right.
I also like to, and I think we've talked about this probably the past 3 episodes of this podcast, but I guess the fact that, again, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And that, you saw this in 3 chapters. Now, I know it didn't happen that quickly and, in real time. But you saw man go from walking in direct relationship with God to now being in a point where it literally says that the Lord saw how great man's wickedness on earth had become, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. And the only person he found favor with was Noah and his family.
Yeah. And
it's just so crazy to me every time. It's like when we look at the world today and we're like, how are we so far gone? And this is the worst the world's ever been. Well, again, I love this. I love in Scripture nothing new under the sun, because it rings true with everything.
Oh, absolutely.
This has happened before. The corruption that we're seeing today has happened before. Even with the corruption you see in America today has happened before in Rome, and Rome followed a similar trajectory before they fell.
Yeah.
That's a piece of encouragement. But you see that, and you see history repeating itself, and you see the fact that, again, nothing's new under the sun, which obviously we know the world will not be wiped in a great flood again. We understand that promise, which, again, we'll see towards the end here.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so I think just jumping into chapter 7, starting in verse 1, we can start off here and go, "The Lord said to Noah, 'Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature that I have made. And Noah did all these things the Lord commanded of him. Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters came on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds, and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God commanded Noah. And after the 7 days the floodwaters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day all the springs of the deep, of the great deep, burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of the 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moved along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings, pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on the land perished. Birds, livestock, wild animals, and all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Everything on the face of the earth was wiped out. People and animals, and the creatures that move along the ground, and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. And so, yeah, that's the end of that's chapter 7, and getting into the start of chapter 8. And so, something that really sticks out to me is the 7-day motif, right? That we see, God creates the earth in 7 days, and we see that a lot. The perfect number, 777.
Yeah.
We see a lot of Jesus talking about that, 7 times 77. That's how many times you should forgive someone.
Yeah.
7 days from now, we're seeing 7 all over again, and we're also seeing 40, which is really interesting because we see that in a lot of places, actually. And so the number 40 is found both in Genesis 7:12 and 7:17, and its significance in the biblical literature is often representing a period of trial, testing, and judgment. So we see that in the Mount Sinai as Moses goes up for 40 days on the mount talking with God, and we also see it in we see Israel do it in Numbers, right, as they wander for 40 years. We even see Jesus we see Jesus led into the wilderness by the Spirit, and he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool motif that he has these numbers that really kind of, clue you in on what's really happening. Because I think you can get a skewed perspective of this, and you just think, well, God's evil. He's just wanting to kill everybody. When, again, you can go back to these motifs, and you can see that this is, first of all, in his plan, but also it's a judgment. I don't think it's not, mean-spirited or evil, and we know that because God is good, but it's how do I say? It's a just punishment, really. It's a judgment, right? We're still following, I think, I don't want to say the rules of justice, but something along that, yeah?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think, again, what's cool about going through Genesis is seeing, like, you can cross-reference this with anything in the Bible. It's the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And so it sets things up. And so, again, like you're talking about the different motifs and the 40 days and the 7, number 7 throughout.
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting to see those different numbers and to again use that cross reference and correlate them to different parts in Scripture and to give us that understanding and that perspective, that this is all a plan, this is all on one, again, because we try to we try to fit God into our frame and into our box and into our timeline, and how like we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but God's on a whole different timeline.
Yeah. So
for him to set stuff up then in Genesis that then matches, or that you see again in Matthew and in the Gospels, and then in Exodus and different stuff like you see it all throughout Scripture. It just proves then kind of the I would say omnipresence, but just
yeah.
I mean,
I think
to a sense.
Yeah, the omniscience and also the coherence of the Bible. Because you think about this is 66 books that we compiled into a Bible, and there's even people talk about like the Book of Enoch and things. I mean, there are still other texts that we don't call them canonized biblical. This is inspired Word of God, right? And so I think that's maybe one of the tools that's put in there to help us distinguish these things. That if we see all these same motifs and these same, again, even symbols that I know I sure wouldn't be able to, craft or remember, I read these other books and I'm going to make one myself. I wouldn't be able to pick up on that. The 7 and the 40 and all of this, there's so much, one, symbolism, and 2, coherence between all of these texts. That's why it's so, we think of the Bible as one book when it's really 66.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, I don't know, it just shows, God's amazement, really, God's craftsmanship, I guess.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, I think, talking about the flood, and obviously we're not gonna try to jump in through 8 and try to pull all that together in this episode, because I think the flood's definitely one that, I mean, that was 2 chapters there, but that's definitely one that it's almost like this was the prereq, like this was the setup here, was Noah making the ark, and then of course, the beginning of the flood, right, where we see that the waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Again, and even into things of like God protecting his creatures, 2 of every creature. It's like he thought about reproduction. He thought about, like if this was put together by somebody who was just angry and just, I'm just going to, flood the whole earth. And then before he knows it, he's starting back again at Adam and Eve because he just wiped everybody out. Yeah,
truly wiped it, but he didn't. And yeah, I like how he talks about, because we see how the flood is it's a symbolism for baptism and how the old world perished. And that's what he's saying. I'm going to destroy everything with the breath of life. I'm going to destroy the earth. I'm going to wipe it clean. And we see the same thing in a baptism, that we go down and we die and we come back a new person in Christ. And again, like I said, it's the symbolism, and this is the groundwork that he's laying for all of these beliefs that, and especially people in our modern culture, you see it's like, why are they dunking each other? And, everybody's screaming about it and stuff. It seems odd, but no, these are very well-founded beliefs, and there's a very good reason we do these things. These aren't just funny little practices like, oh, I just want to dunk you underwater.
Well, of course, yeah, these are things that have been produced over time with intentionality. That's the most important thing, too. This wasn't just as like some, I feel like a lot of traditions start with like, oh, we just
wanted to.
Think family traditions, too. It's like,
oh, yeah,
you do the same thing every Christmas. Why? Not for really an intentional reason, but just because it's what you've always done.
Yeah, and, the first Christmas you did it's because you just wanted to.
It worked, and you do it from there on out.
Yeah.
But this has intentional... the stuff, it's not coincidence that the flood is what brought things to life and then brought things back to life as well. It wasn't coincidence that the flood was a reset, and then that, fast forward to where, we start seeing baptism in the Bible. Like, that's not a coincidence to the things that we practice today. So, I mean, yeah, that's to me one of the most interesting things as we go through Genesis here is like, this is what sets up what we believe today. And not even if you don't want to go as far as setting it up, saying that it set things up, it's still, you can see pieces of inspiration maybe, or where
Yeah.
God's throwing in different bones here and there, because I think that's definitely something through Scripture that we talked about a couple of times today.
Yeah, absolutely. I like seeing these great events because I mean, I try and imagine it. It's like, it's terrifying and awesome at the same time, but all of these things have a purpose that we see that the flood was a punishment for those that, because all of the hearts of humans were set on doing evil, that everything, the earth was corrupt. It's okay, you need to be punished for that, right? But then it's not, I don't want to say just punishment just to punish people. It's also punishment with the intent to do better, right? To I don't know, cultivate life as God intended it in the beginning.
There's a plan.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not just reaction. It wasn't just reactive. It was thought out and planned out.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that we maybe we don't explicitly know and we don't articulate, but we do act out when, again, example from baptism is, you're a washing of your sin and you're coming back new with the intent to live for God and to do better, the same way the flood here is doing, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's always just, I don't know, super interesting to me, and it's always bewildering to go back through it and just kind of marvel at, there's always more to soak up.
Yeah, I like the no pun intended on the soak up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there's just definitely within chapter 6 and 7 that we went through today, themes of restoration. Yeah, and you start to see that. And again, you can apply that to different.
Oh yeah,
different parts of your life.
And you see that Scripture. You see even like the divine sorrow because God, regretted the evil, right? And we know He's entangled. I guess He cares for us, right? He's not just this clockmaker who made a clock, right? He's actually cares for us and loves us truly. And again, you're seeing that, but because He loves us, and it's a good love, it's not this kind of love that we've kind of labeled love in the 21st century, which is just enabling whatever you want to do. Okay.
Sure.
Right. It's a real form of love that there also means there's consequences. You just can't do whatever you want because we still need to uphold justice. We still need to do what's right. And if you do what's wrong, what's right is to have consequences. Right? Yeah. So, and that's what you're seeing.
Be careful, you're going to make some people mad with that point.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh. No, I absolutely agree. So anyways, I mean, that's chapter 6 and 7, and that's really the beginning of the flood here. And, I'm really excited to jump into the rest of this and jump into
see the
chapter 8. Yeah.
Yeah. The aftermath of the flood. And we see God's covenant with Noah.
Yep.
And it's something to dig into. It's a big deal. Right?
Yeah. So I'm excited I think this was a good episode to really start kicking off the next couple episodes. Really. I think this kind of, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say set the scene, but
it sets up the patriarchy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, there you go. Episode 66.
That's right.
In the books. Make sure you tune in next Sunday. Is that not impressive or what? That's all on one breath.
That's very impressive. You hold a note very well.
Okay, all right.